Hold up now. Why did I just get two different $5 bills? And one of them is a flashback from the past. Now, some would say they got the same value, but they do have a different design, a different age, and a whole different life cycle. And then it hit me. So I'm going to share with you the lesson that I have now that I have that money. We are literally holding two different time periods at the same time. One is newer, and one hasn't completely unfolded yet. And the other one, the older one, it's still valid, but it's on its way out. So I got to thinking, why did this old one show up all of a sudden? Like it came out of nowhere, because I haven't seen it in a very long time, at least some years, right? My metacognition tells me that it's not random, and it's time for system awareness. So let's talk about system awareness, because systems don't just disappear. Like they don't just all of a sudden stop one day. There's an overlapping that happens where it's either being absorbed by another system or the system that is the original is decaying. So in that overlap, there's a lag, there's some adjustments being made. And so as it's slowly getting absorbed or it's slowly decaying, it fades out. That can be old money, new money. But it's not just money either. It's also your health, your business, your family, but even more important, your mindset. Because some things are still valid, some things are still important, some things still hold weight, even though things are absolutely changing. But it's still being phased out in real time in a way. So let me get a little bit deeper into it, right? When things start fading out or things start dying off, most people get worried because they are so used to what's familiar. They're wanting to hold on to that old thing. Whether, again, it's a relationship, your business, your lifestyle, whatever it may be. But the insight that you're really supposed to be getting from this experience, because it happens every single day, it happens through generations, it happens through the banking, it happens all the time. What really should be happening as the observer is you should be observing transformation, and you should be learning transformation, because everything has a transition phase. This in itself, this life that I'm experiencing is a transition phase. But most of the time, because people are distracted, they're programmed, they don't know what to do with themselves in general. They don't notice and they don't take advantage of what's showing up, whether it's the old that's being phased out, or if it's the new, what's being phased in. And they really can't see the contrast in the two. So if you're moving too fast, you miss all of it altogether. It doesn't have the ability to get your attention, so that as you're going through this transformation and this transition phase, you can be the best version of both worlds, the old and the new. But if you are only caught up on wanting things to happen for you and wanting things to come faster, you only focus on the new, but you lose the wisdom that has come with experience from the older. Now, I know this started about money, but hold on, because if you can catch it, the lesson in itself, you'll understand where I'm going. It's time to talk about real-time motion, because whether you're from the old world or you're going to the new world, either way, it's in motion. But it's your perception of the motion that really tells the story. Because if you master yourself, which is you being able to observe the old and the new, you have this appreciation. And in this appreciation, you are able to receive everything that the old and new is teaching you. Because remember, I said in the beginning that there is value. So the older money, right? The older $5 bill is actually worth more than the newer $5 bill. Why? Because certain markers, certain experiences that it's had, or just even in the time of when it was printed, it changes the value of it. So it doesn't have the same face value of $5 anymore, because if you hold on just a little bit longer, it has its own worth because it was printed and now it's being phased out. Okay, so what does that have to do with you? Let's talk about how old energy shows up after you've already changed. Sometimes a person, a pattern, even a conversation brings you back around to what you would consider old. And you can be led to think, like, why am I still here? Why am I still dealing with this? Why is this coming up now? And truly, it's not always a setback. Sometimes it's really for you to recognize the system overlap and have awareness. Because whether the old system is a relationship, like who had access to you, what you tolerated, how much you had to explain, how much you had to accept, there is a new version of you that is operating from a different system. So the things that you previously allowed, the people you previously allowed, just aren't tolerated anymore. And so the new version of you is taking on a new level of awareness. It's taking on a new idea of who you are and living it out. So you have more boundaries, more self-respect. So when old energy shows back up, it's not showing you itself because you failed. It's showing so you can recognize the newer version of yourself, because you're seeing the contrast. You are seeing why you are no longer your older self, and you are also seeing why the newer version of yourself has to process the old version as well, because you don't phase it out until it's phased out. You don't throw it away until you realize you don't need it anymore. You don't even want it anymore. It doesn't serve a purpose anymore. It has no value like it had before. Maybe a little intrinsic value, like I am so glad I had that experience, so I know never to do that shit again. But it doesn't necessarily mean it has the same value, face value that it once had. For instance, you're in a relationship that doesn't serve you, and so why would you continue to stay in it? So now you can recognize when you see that person again that you don't want shit to do with that motherfucker, and therefore they can go ahead and leave. So it's not a question of why are they back. It's a question of, do they deserve access? And the answer would be no. Because just because it feels familiar, just because it once was, just because it had some value at a point in time, it doesn't mean that it's still in real life, real time having value. There's no alignment with it. Hold on, I'm almost done. And just to be clear, sometimes it will look like old things come back, and it's going to have a new way of working for you. It's going to have a new way of adding value to you. But truly it doesn't, because it only can take you where you once been before. It can't take you to a new place. And that's where people get stuck, whether you're still talking about a relationship, money, job, career, all the things, your mindset. So if you were in a relationship or had a career or whatever, and it was how you got your kickstart, it was how you got your catalyst, it's how you launched. That's good, that's great. But that was for the beginning, not for now. So honor it and appreciate it, but don't attach to it. So as you approach your new version of yourself, as you approach your new life, your new mindset, your new way of doing things, your new way of processing what you see, as you approach it, it's for you to recognize the overlap, because it's not just going to disappear overnight. And that's why you have to have discernment, because if you can't look at it and see like, this is not for me and this is for me, this is old, this is new, if you can't differentiate the two, you'll stay stuck and get caught up in the mission, because you don't realize the little small nuances in life for you to recognize what's old, what's new. And I just want to say, pay attention to everything, because life be life, and if you don't see and appreciate and catch on to the small things, you'll think that it's all the same and it's never going to change, and there is no growth. I think that's what I wanted to say. That's it. That's all. That's the message. Bye, baby.